Chinese authorities say they're investigating a viral pneumonia outbreak.
Mysterious pneumonia has gripped China with
For
scores
all
hospitalized.
of these reasons, I'm declaring a public health emergency of international concern over the global outbreak of novel coronavirus.
On March 12, 2020, the World Health Organization declared that the outbreak of the severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, which is the virus responsible for the coronavirus disease 2019, had reached the level of a global pandemic. Within 1 week, over 107 nations around the world had closed all schools and affected the lives of more than 862 million students worldwide. It has radically transformed the lives of masses of people around the globe, including students. The closure of educational institutions at all grade levels caused students to experience a prolonged state of physical isolation from their friends, teachers, and family members. Apart from the devastating health consequences for those directly affected by the virus, the COVID-19 pandemic holds major implications for the way higher education students live and work, affecting their physical and mental well-being in profound ways.
Before the pandemic happened, I used to play contact sports, especially basketball. I have played basketball in our school since I was part of the men's basketball team when I was in high school. I used to play in leagues in our barangay, and basketball is like my stress reliever after a tiring week in school. When the pandemic started, the government banned contact sports, especially basketball. I feel sad and disappointed because all my life I've been playing basketball, and that was one of my unusual experience during the pandemic because it's the first time that my sports will be restricted for a long time.
Probably my most unusual experience in the pandemic was during the first implementation of ECQ. It was just strict back then, and every night I'd see the police patrolling our area, They would catch anyone who's seen outside during the curfew hours. And even during the daytime, no one can get out unless it's necessary. And streets became empty, and our neighborhood just felt like a ghost town. But now I'm just glad that I can freely go out and spend more time outside.
I think, like most of us, this is the most time that we spend inside our houses because at the peak of the pandemic, we were all fearful for our lives. And of course, we won't risk going outside, right? So we have no choice but to stay indoors. And I think that affects a lot of aspects in our lives. We need to adapt to the changes that the pandemic brought. So I have a lot of unusual experiences. One of those is our daily activities are limited. I do have a lot of indoor hobbies, but like, of course, I miss going outside. I miss trying new things, exploring new places, and of course, I miss my friends a lot. I miss hanging out with them and just being around them, of course. So I think that's it for unusual experiences.
I mean, looking back since March 2020 when it all started, I think the most unusual things that I have experienced or encountered is that I managed not to leave my room for a whole day without talking to anyone in the house. I mean, I only go out to get food, that's all. The fact that I was very extrovert person back then, and the type of person was very talkative because I like socializing, like a lot. But when this pandemic came, that we weren't allowed to go out, surprisingly, I enjoyed my own company. Like, I enjoyed being alone, doing paintings, learning how to draw, and especially fangirling.
Unusual experience. Probably the contact tracing and temperature checks. I'm used to it now for sure, but it was really unusual at first because we were required to have our temperatures checked first, then fill out the forms provided before entering any establishments. I was not used to that, considering that before the pandemic, we were free to enter without being held up at the entrance unless it was for checking the contents inside our bags. So yeah, that was really strange for me.
As an online student, I face multiple challenges. The noise of my surroundings is one of my main problems as an online student because as a student that lives in a semi-rural area, there are unnecessary noises coming from outside. For example, roosters making noises, or neighbors celebrating their birthdays with loud sounds, or cars passing the road, etc. In that way, I am easily distracted by the noise and it affects me as a student to be productive. Also, I have problem with my body clock. I can't sleep at night and I am awake at midnight, so I wake up late in the morning.
One of my main challenges is that I easily get distracted. It is a problem that I've been working on ever since. For example, in asynchronous classes, while working on my tasks, sometimes I give myself a 10 or 20 minute break. And during that break, it's either I really take a rest or I would get lost in countless animal videos on the internet. Or maybe a friend would invite me to play a game. But despite this, I'm amazed at how I still manage to submit my tasks on time. Still, it is a problem because I wanted to be in a state where I only entertain myself once I'm done with my assignments and activities.
Challenges? Oh boy. I think academically the most challenging part for me is that I am easily distracted. Throughout the pandemic, I think my attention span shortened, so yeah. Though internet connectivity is a huge problem for me, I think some of my members already mentioned that, so yes, back to my distractions. Since it's an online setup, there are a lot of things that could easily distract us. For example, by personal experience, I do sometimes talk to my friends while in class, thus distracting me or diverting my attention from the lesson that's being taught. Also, I play online games, so I tend to play more than do some of my schoolworks. Sorry.
In part of challenges, I think the most challenging part for me was being distracted while doing my job as a student. Like, our parents, they will endlessly call us whenever they want to. Like, Kim, please do the dishes. Kim, buy me some onion. I'm cooking. An endless Kim. And as a very, very nice daughter, of course, I will leave what I'm doing and I will follow what they want me to do. And that's also my job as their daughter.
I think most of the time, technical difficulties or sometimes the lack of devices are the most common challenges students like me face. Because not everyone is fortunate enough to have their own devices that can cater our educational needs. And of course, technical issues are bound to happen in an online environment. And this only adds to the frustration of the students and interrupt new distance learning sessions. There are times our computers will shut down, or there are moments when our Wi-Fi is spotty and weak monitors, especially if we are using our smartphones, because it can make it challenging to keep up with our virtual classmates and learning environment.
Being a college student during pandemic, I think it's very challenging, not only for me but for a lot of students as well, because as I said earlier, there are a lot of distractions during online setups, so we could have a hard time focusing on our lessons and absorbing what we're supposed to learn.
I think as a first-year college student during the pandemic, we were deprived of having the full-on college experience. We were stuck with ourselves most of the time and did not have the chance to hang out and interact with our newfound friends physically. And instead, we were forced to interact virtually. Aside from that, in the traditional classroom, teachers can monitor the students and adjust their pace to accommodate anyone who needs extra time. However, in an online learning environment, it is more difficult to do so. Hence, I think that is the reason why students, most of the time, leave virtual classes feeling discouraged, frustrated, and having learned nothing.
As a student that prefers face-to-face classes, I am struggling to adjust a new setup of learning, especially now as a first-year college student. Being at college is the hardest educational level. With this setup, I think it doubles the difficulty of studying, but I don't have any choice but to face it. In addition, instead of exploring the campus, joining and participating in campus events or activities, I am just in front of my computer and joining Zoom meetings or Google Meets.
Like any kids would do, I love to draw every time I have a pen. And I've always dreamed of a job that utilizes my artistic skills. But right now, my current course is different from what I thought it would be. And things didn't go according to my plan. I know I still have plenty of time and I practice whenever I have a chance. Because to me, painting, drawing, or playing a musical instrument is something that comes to my mind and it just makes me happy.
Aspiration, I think since the pandemic emerged, most people's greatest wish is for the world to return to normal, where we could travel wherever we wanted without worrying about catching a virus, where we could hang out with friends the same way we did before, where kids could play outside without restriction, and where we could enjoy every minute of the day. In other words, returning to normal. Everyone is going through something different. Everyone hurts and everyone smiles. In our short lives, always choose what makes you happy and content.
Even though it might seem difficult, we strive hard to get through. When times get hard, even though we might break down, we know that we will have a breakthrough.
It's exhausting, right? We know that you're tired. You all are. But there's always someone by your side who could be your comfort, your strength, and your happiness. So let's get through this together.
It may be hard to adapt to the changes again, but this time we'll be here with you. It's hard to be locked up inside our houses and not experience all of what life has to give, but the world is starting to change again.
We want to experience life offline, not on video calls, online messages, and online classrooms. We want to see the world, spend time with friends and families, and to finally be free again. So until we all see each other soon, take care. Always.